Belarus sets a new national heat record. One of the strongest wind gusts ever recorded hits the United States. Uzbekistan experiences unseasonal downpours. Destructive storms strike Romania and Ukraine. Coming up is a brief overview of the most significant climate events of the past week. Romania. Following a period of abnormal heat, during which temperatures in some parts of Romania exceeded plus 40 degrees Celsius, a series of severe storms struck the country beginning on June 29th. Their effects were felt in dozens of communities across more than 20 counties. The capital, Bucharest, was among the hardest hit areas. During the night of July 1st, more than 88 millimeters of rain fell within just a few hours, exceeding the average monthly rainfall. Wind gusts reached 90 kilometers per hour. Widespread flooding virtually paralyzed traffic on city streets and inundated numerous basements and ground floors. Dozens of vehicles, including ambulances, became trapped in the water. More than 1,000 fallen trees created additional difficulties. Damage to the overhead power network suspended tram and trolleybus services. Traffic on Basarabia Boulevard was restricted because of the risk of the road surface collapsing, while several metro stations were closed indefinitely after being flooded. Rail services were also severely disrupted. Fallen trees brought more than 20 trains to a halt and completely suspended traffic along several sections of railway. In the city of Targovishte in Dąbrowica County, wind gusts tore the roof off a swimming complex and damaged the roofs of several residential buildings. One person was injured by flying debris. On the Padane Plateau in the Bucegi Mountains, lightning struck as a group of 14 children and their teacher were following a mountain trail. The teacher suffered first and second degree burns over approximately 30% of her body and was taken to a hospital while conscious. One child was also hospitalized with a leg injury. In the commune of Ganeasa in Lviv County, a tree fell onto a minibus, killing one of the passengers. Ukraine. On June 29th, a powerful storm front swept across several regions of Ukraine following a period of abnormal heat. In Lviv, maximum temperature records were broken for 6 consecutive days. On June 29th, a new monthly temperature record was set as the air temperature climbed to plus 37.4 degrees Celsius. The atmospheric front that replaced the heat brought severe thunderstorms, torrential rain, and damaging winds. In Lviv, strong winds tore part of the roof off a district administration building, damaged windows, and brought down more than 20 large trees. One of them fell directly onto a trolley bus. The storm damaged the overhead power network, blocked roads, and suspended several tram routes for several hours. During the thunderstorm, a 6-year-old girl was struck by lightning and admitted to intensive care. In the Volyn region, lightning struck near a body of water where people were spending their leisure time. 7 people, including 4 children, lost consciousness and were hospitalized. More than 400 hectares of forest were damaged by the severe storm in the Rivne and Volyn regions. More than 53 communities in the Zhytomyr region lost electricity because of the damaging winds. On the evening of June 29th, the severe weather reached Kyiv. The storm front brought torrential rain, a dust storm, and wind gusts of up to 20 meters per second. The storm brought down trees, billboards, and power poles, while some city streets were flooded. The National Military Memorial Cemetery near Kyiv was damaged by the torrential rain. Water flows washed out roads while the ground subsided in areas containing recent burials. Uzbekistan. At the beginning of July, Uzbekistan experienced weather conditions that were unusual for the season. According to Uzhydromet, heavy rain fell across most areas of the Republic of Karakalpakstan on July 1st, accompanied by wind gusts of up to 22 meters per second. In the city of Nukus, the windstorm tore the roof off one of the buildings. In the country's capital, Tashkent, a powerful thunderstorm continued for several hours and was accompanied by torrential rain, hail, and damaging winds. On social media, residents noted that weather of such intensity was highly unusual for July. This month is normally considered one of the hottest and driest in the region, with average monthly rainfall not exceeding 3 millimeters. The effects of the heavy downpours also reached the Samarkand region. Following rainfall in the mountainous areas of Uzbekistan and Tajikistan, the water discharge in the Zeravshan River nearly tripled. Riverbank erosion subsequently damaged a section of the Samarkand-Urgut railway line. According to specialists, similar hydrological conditions had not been observed for approximately 20 years. 15 pieces of specialized equipment were deployed to reinforce the riverbank. Heavy downpours triggered mud flows in several districts. According to an expert, climatologists associate the increasing frequency of intense summer rainfall and storms in recent years with global climate change. Changes in atmospheric circulation are allowing moist and cool cyclones to penetrate farther into Central Asia. When they encounter heated air, they form powerful storm fronts. At the same time, Uzbekistan's average annual temperature is rising faster than the global average, contributing to the increasing frequency of extreme weather events. Belarus. At the end of June, Belarus experienced one of the most severe heat waves in the country's entire history of meteorological observations. In some areas, temperatures exceeded the climatic average by more than 10 degrees. On June 29th, a new national maximum temperature record was established in the city of Pinsk, where the air temperature reached plus 40.4 degrees Celsius. Because of the extreme heat, forecasters issued a red-level weather warning. The heat did not ease even at night. Many areas of Belarus experienced what is known as a tropical night, with temperatures remaining above plus 20 degrees Celsius. On June 29th, the Babruisk district of the Mogilev region was hit by a severe thunderstorm and damaging winds, with gusts reaching 22 meters per second. The severe weather caught residents during the City Day celebrations. In the main square, the wind swept away market stalls, canopies, and other temporary structures. More than 100 trees were brought down, including one that fell onto a 5-story residential building. Numerous roads were blocked, and 12 vehicles were damaged. The windstorm tore the roofs off 2 buildings and shattered the windows of a store. On July 1st, the Grodno and Minsk regions were severely affected by a powerful thunderstorm, accompanied by wind gusts of up to 20 meters per second. In the city of Maladzyechna, strong winds brought down a large tree, which fell onto a parked car. Fortunately, no one was injured. United States. During the morning hours of June 29th, powerful thunderstorms swept across central and eastern South Dakota. The city of Highmore was the hardest hit location. According to the National Weather Service, straight-line wind speeds near Highmore reached approximately 211 kilometers per hour. This was the second strongest wind gust not associated with a tornado ever recorded in the state. Powerful wind gusts tore roofs from houses, overturned vehicles, and damaged grain bins and wind turbine towers. Highmore lost electricity, while roads were blocked by fallen trees and debris. Some people were injured during the storm. One local resident said that shortly before the storm arrived, she heard a deafening roar resembling an approaching freight train. This was followed by the sound of shattering glass and something heavy falling onto the house. Beginning in late June, a blocking high-pressure system became established over the United States, creating a type of high-pressure dome. It trapped extremely hot and moisture-laden air near the surface across more than 2/3 of the continental United States. The heat dome created extreme and life-threatening conditions in the country's largest metropolitan areas, affecting more than 200 million Americans. The heat wave coincided with Independence Day celebrations and FIFA World Cup matches, while the heat index reached as high as plus 46 degrees Celsius in some locations. In several densely populated urban areas, nighttime temperatures remained above plus 27 degrees Celsius. The human body did not have enough time to recover from the daytime heat, causing heat stress to accumulate.
90-degree temperatures. A player carrying the boy inside.
In Washington, where the main events marking the 250th anniversary of United States independence were taking place, dozens of people affected by the heat required medical assistance.
On Washington's National Mall.
The celebration program was later temporarily suspended. Because of an approaching thunderstorm, visitors were urgently evacuated from the National Mall. While United States President Donald Trump's speech began several hours late.
On Friday and headed for a speech and fireworks.
In some cities, weather conditions forced organizers to modify their holiday programs or cancel events entirely. NASA canceled a demonstration flight and an anniversary ceremony after equipment used for the live broadcast began malfunctioning because of severe overheating. The extreme heat also affected FIFA World Cup matches. Additional cooling breaks were introduced during games, while athletes used water and ice towels to cope with the conditions. Some matches were also delayed because of thunderstorms that followed the hot weather. The sharp increase in electricity consumption caused by the widespread use of air conditioning created a serious threat to the power grid. To prevent outages, power plants were temporarily permitted to operate at full capacity under relaxed environmental restrictions, while backup diesel generators were also brought online.
Concerns over potential record demand.
The abnormal heat also affected railway operations. New Jersey Transit warned that trains could be delayed by up to 30 minutes, and that some services could be canceled because of overheated equipment. Amtrak also reported that trains operating along the Northeast Corridor might be required to reduce their speed during the daytime. In New Jersey, air temperatures reached plus 41 degrees Celsius. According to preliminary data, the extreme heat caused 25 deaths. Many of the victims were found inside homes without air conditioning. The exhausting heat was followed by powerful storms, accompanied by thunderstorms and wind gusts reaching 130 kilometers per hour. The severe weather brought down trees and damaged power lines, leaving hundreds of thousands of customers without electricity. According to the United States National Weather Service, heat remains the deadliest weather-related threat in the country. On average, heat caused 273 deaths each year, more than twice the number of deaths caused by flooding, and significantly more than the figures associated with tornadoes, hurricanes, and lightning strikes. At the same time, as the graph shows, the number of heat-related deaths has continued to rise steadily in recent years, turning extreme heat into an increasingly serious threat. The main danger lies not simply in a high temperature on a single day, but in a prolonged heat wave, a period when hot days and warm nights persist for several consecutive days. Under such conditions, the human body does not have enough time to cool down and recover. In cities, the situation is aggravated by the urban heat island effect. Concrete and asphalt surfaces absorb heat during the day and gradually release it at night, causing heat stress to continue accumulating even after sunset. Statistics show that heat waves are becoming more frequent and longer lasting in many regions of the world, meaning that an increasing number of people are facing risks for which they are no longer prepared. Improved forecasting systems, timely warnings, access to water, the establishment of cooling centers, and clear safety guidance are therefore effective measures that can save lives.
I know.
大丈夫なの？いや、これやばいよな。これってどんくらい進んだらあかんねやったっけ？これ結構やばない？
In late June, Japan and Taiwan faced a prolonged series of powerful downpours during East Asia's rainy season. In Taiwan, rainfall intensified as Typhoon Mekkhala approached, while in Japan, the seasonal rain front was affected by two tropical cyclones at once, Mekkhala and Higos. Mekkhala rapidly gained strength over the Philippine Sea. By June 22nd and 23rd, its maximum sustained winds had reached approximately 115 miles per hour. At around the same time, Higos formed near the Mariana Islands. The tropical cyclones followed different tracks. Mekkhala passed closer to the island of Taiwan and Japan's Ryukyu archipelago, while Higos remained farther east and headed toward Japan. Mekkhala did not make landfall in Taiwan, but its outer circulation strengthened the moisture-laden southwesterly flow. As a result, extreme downpours began in the southern part of the island. By June 25th, more than 15¾ inches of rain had fallen in Jiru Township, Pingdong County. Over the following several days, rainfall in some rural areas approached 40 inches. Kaohsiung, Pingdong, and Tainan were the hardest-hit areas. Schools and government offices were closed in several districts, while flooding disrupted service on the main rail line connecting the northern and southern parts of the island. In Hualien, nearly 200 people were evacuated from communities located downstream from a rapidly filling landslide-dammed lake. By June 27th, 3 people had been reported dead and 1 person was missing. In Japan, the situation developed according to a more complex scenario. Warm, humid air from the 2 typhoons fed the seasonal Baiu front, causing heavy rainfall even before the cyclones made their closest approach. The downpours initially affected western Japan. On June 26th, the Kumo River was reported to have overflowed in Kyoto, while dozens of homes were flooded in Nara and Hiroshima prefectures. The area of the most intense rainfall then shifted eastward toward the Kanto and Tokai regions, as well as the Boso Peninsula. Evacuation orders in Japan affected approximately 1 million people. More than 200 flights were canceled, train services were suspended, expressways were closed, and Toyota temporarily halted operations at a plant on Kyushu. At several weather stations in Chiba Prefecture, new June rainfall records were set for 24-hour, 48-hour, and 72-hour periods. This episode illustrates one of the defining features of modern climate change. Hazardous events are increasingly occurring at the same time and intensifying one another. A familiar rainy season can become significantly more destructive when it coincides with an influx of moisture from one or more tropical cyclones. Meteorologists, government authorities, emergency services, and residents themselves must therefore be prepared for such combinations. People need to understand how quickly an ordinary weather situation can develop into a serious threat. In early July, Tropical Storm Baiu formed over the western Pacific Ocean and began rapidly gaining strength as it approached the Mariana Islands. The system developed at an exceptional rate. In just 36 hours, its sustained winds increased by more than 100 miles per hour. By July 4th, Baiu had reached super typhoon strength after undergoing a period of extremely rapid intensification. The storm reached peak intensity on the morning of July 6th. Sustained winds climbed to approximately 180 miles per hour, while individual gusts reached about 215 miles per hour. On the Saffir-Simpson hurricane wind scale, this intensity was equivalent to a Category 5 hurricane, the highest classification. The storm struck Rota with its greatest force. Rota is a small island with a population of approximately 2,000 people and is part of the northern Mariana Islands. The eye of the super typhoon passed directly over the island, placing Rota within the zone of the most destructive winds. The damage affected nearly the entire island. Almost every home sustained damage, and even substantial concrete buildings were not spared. Some structures were completely destroyed, while others lost roofs, walls, and windows. Government buildings and public facilities were also severely damaged. Both the airport and the seaport, the island's main transportation links to the outside world, were damaged at the same time. Transportation to and from Rota was almost completely paralyzed. Electricity and water supplies were entirely cut off, leaving residents without power or reliable access to drinking water in the tropical heat. Despite the enormous strength of the super typhoon and the widespread destruction, no deaths were reported on the island. 2 people were injured. However, Baiu's impact was not limited to Rota. Hurricane-force conditions were also recorded on other islands across the archipelago.
Yeah, the water broke.
Water broke.
On Guam, which is home to major United States military facilities, strong winds were accompanied by prolonged torrential rainfall. Approximately 12 3/10 inches of rain fell within 24 hours, setting a new daily rainfall record for the island. The intense rainfall triggered flash floods and landslides. Many roads became impassable because of flooding, fallen trees, and debris from damaged structures. North of Rota, on Saipan and Tinian, the typhoon also brought down power lines, damaged residential and commercial buildings, and disrupted port operations. For these islands, the new disaster was especially severe because they had not yet recovered from the previous storm. In mid-April, the region had been struck by Category 4 Super Typhoon Mekkhala. During that storm, more than 19.7 inches of rain fell across the islands, causing widespread flooding, while power outages continued for several weeks. The damage was estimated at approximately $1.5 billion United States dollars. As a result, Saipan and Tinian experienced their second destructive typhoon in only 3 months. Baiu arrived while some buildings and infrastructure were still undergoing repairs. The new damage compounded the destruction caused by the April storm and made conditions even more difficult for local residents. After passing through the Mariana Islands, Baiu continued across the Philippine Sea. The system gradually weakened but retained considerable strength in a broad area of storm-force winds. On July 11th, the typhoon reached the eastern coast of China and made landfall near the city of Taizhou in Zhejiang province. By that time, sustained winds had decreased to approximately 89 miles per hour, equivalent to a Category 1 hurricane. Although Baiu had weakened considerably compared with its impact on Rota, it still posed a serious threat to coastal communities. In anticipation of strong winds, torrential rain, and possible flooding, Chinese authorities carried out mass evacuations, while emergency services prepared for damage to buildings, roads, utilities, and other critical infrastructure. This example shows that increasingly frequent climate-related disasters do not give communities enough time to recover fully. A new storm strikes homes, infrastructure, and local economies that have already been damaged, compounding earlier losses. When the consequences of several disasters overlap, the overall scale of destruction becomes significantly greater. On the evening of July 6th, eastern Hubei province in China was struck by a powerful thunderstorm system. Torrential rain and destructive winds swept across Huangshi, Huanggang, Higos, and Xianing, but the most devastating effects came from several tornadoes that tore through densely populated areas. Weather stations in 53 townships and towns recorded wind gusts ranging from force 8 to force 13 on the extended Beaufort scale. One of the strongest tornadoes, rated EF2, formed in the central Liqing district of Higos. The tornado moved through urban neighborhoods in the evening, while many people were still outside. It uprooted trees, tore roofs from buildings, hurled construction materials through the air, and blocked roads with debris. The funnel then headed toward the Yangtze River, one of China's busiest transportation routes. About 120,000 vessels pass through this section of the river each year. However, the Maritime Safety Administration had suspended traffic in advance. More than 720 vessels left the shipping channel, took shelter in protected waters, and dropped anchor. As a result, when the tornado crossed the river, there were no moving vessels in its path. Even more severe consequences were recorded in Huanggang, where the tornado passed through Huangzhou district. In just a few minutes, it crossed residential neighborhoods, roads, and industrial areas, damaging buildings, power lines, and vehicles.
De policía armada fueron movilizados el sábado en la región autónoma Swung de Guangxi, en el sur de China, para asistir en las labores de socorro y recuperación tras las severas inundaciones causadas por el tifón Mekkhala. En la ciudad de Fangchenggang, 53 efectivos de la Policía Armada fueron desplegados.
At one logistics park, multi-ton trucks were overturned, while some vehicles were thrown about 98 feet. Warehouse buildings lost walls and roofs. Metal structures were crushed, and the entire area was covered with debris.
不知道有没有买那个第三者那个什么车身险，要是没买。
Guangdong Normal University was also damaged. Nearly all of the library's exterior windows were shattered, and the stadium's roof covering was torn away. More than 100 students sustained injuries of varying severity. One local resident described the deaths of his parents. They were in the courtyard when the tornado approached. He watched as the vortex lifted them high into the air before they fell to the ground. Their bodies were not found until the following day. As of July 7th, the disaster had affected about 14,600 people in Hubei province. 11 people were killed, and another 331 were injured. 22 buildings were completely destroyed, while 4,855 sustained damage. Chinese meteorologists attributed the exceptionally powerful outbreak of severe weather to a rare combination of atmospheric conditions. A very warm, moisture-laden air mass was positioned over Hubei. Additional moisture was brought into the region by the residual circulation of Tropical Storm Mekkhala. When this air collided with colder, drier air masses moving in from the north, conditions developed for the formation of intense thunderstorm cells and tornadoes. In southern China, Mekkhala brought prolonged downpours, and because the system moved slowly, bands of rain repeatedly passed over the same areas of Guangxi province. Jiangping Township in Dongxing County received more than 20.9 inches of rain within 24 hours, exceeding the average rainfall for the entire month of July, while rainfall rates in some areas surpassed 4 inches per hour. Flooding and landslides affected all 14 prefectures in the province. About 375,000 people were affected, approximately 130,000 were evacuated, at least 6 were killed, and another 11 were reported missing. This episode demonstrates how unstable atmospheric circulation is becoming. Different air masses, the remnants of tropical cyclones, and localized weather processes can overlap and greatly amplify one another's effects. Forecasting and preparedness must therefore take into account not only familiar seasonal risks, but also the possible emergence of additional factors. Even a natural hazard that is well known in a particular region can suddenly become far more destructive when such conditions converge.
注意点，注意点，注意点，哎，对对对对，慢一点，慢一点。